I'm muted. I'm very smart. Welcome, everybody. I'm Steve. We're going to do a webinar on what I did today, what I did this week, and what I think I'm going to do next week. Hope you've all had a good one so far. It's been a long one. We had some wild trading action today. I'm going to throw up my chart so you don't have to look at my messy room and my wilty plants. We're going to get right on into it. Boom. Lots of trading. Didn't even make that much. I did okay. But the point of the story is we got to figure out what's going on in the market. Are we breaking down? Let's take a look at things. We started off the week pretty darn bullish here. Looking like we wanted to break out a couple times here. And this is a really important level. It's basically this neckline right here. Let's give you the full screen. And it's a big area of interest that we want to draw out here. So going into the week, my plan was to buy in the bottom of the range and sell into this level until we broke through it. Thought this was a deep back test and a breakout into the close, and then Oracle seemed to be the impetus, them and Broadcom, for this really gnarly sell-off. And now we are sitting here at the bottom of the range, and I'm sitting here going, do I want to buy this? I don't know if I want to buy it. I don't think I want to buy it, but we're going to talk about it. Hey, Tyler, good to see you, man. DJ2AM, very good to see you. Benoit, Leo, all the boys, and Talk. Awesome, guys. Yeah, Tyler, you got stopped out. That sucks, man. It was a tough one. I got stopped out a few times. I missed a lot of really good setups that I just didn't feel super confident in because I was in thesis reassessment mode here. We're at the bottom of the range. I'm still bullish into the end of the year. We have this massive target, this massive gamma band expiry up here. And in my eyes, in my mind, it's like a game of how are we going to chart our course to this zone by roughly a couple weeks out. So how do we get here to here? We don't have to get here, but I still really do think we want to. What I'm kind of seeing is we had a big flush out and we came back up to this neckline and we're just cooking this level here. You could draw it up here is probably better. I think this is the 6,900 level on ES, and it has been sold pretty relentlessly. We really look like we faked a breakout here and just really gnarly price action today. So it's a little bit spooky, I think that the path of least resistance probably is down from here. We were talking about it in my server, and some of the best traders in there were really bearish and not believing this breakout. And I was intraday trading, so I didn't really care if it was going to break out or not. Obviously I want it to, but it just couldn't get the move. And I was looking through charts last night and I was trying to figure out, are we going to die? Is everything going to fall off the face of the earth? I don't think so, but I do think we were running too hot and we tried too many times to break out of this range. And we have this kind of curving action. Kind of an expanding zone. And I think we really have to be worried about, not necessarily worried about, I'm excited about it, but we have to be cognizant of the real possibility to make a higher low that's much lower. So we have a few places that I'm looking for a potential catch. And we are not quite there yet, as you can see. So the first area of interest is going to be the gap. We have the true gap between these candles, very small, just like that. And I love these because it gives such a pinpoint target, and they love to get transacted and then potentially reverse here. Doesn't mean we tag this and instantly go back to the top, but it's an area where I'm going to really watch because basically it is an objective for market makers to sweep. Once we get there, we kind of get to see, well, what's the next step going to be? So we got to play it one level at a time here. One level at a time. Hey, Derek, good to see you. And Mike, good to see you, brother. Been a minute. Hope you're doing well. Oh man. Have I done a level 2 series? Nick, no, I haven't. But you know what? I've been thinking about it, actually. Yeah, I can do one on the DOM, level 2 trading, how to tape read. I don't know if you guys know. I say I'm tape reading when I'm just watching candles. Technically, I believe true tape reading is actually watching the bid ask, the level 2s, this kind of stuff, and inferring price action based on the movements we see in the level 2. If you guys are interested in that, I'd love to do a webinar on that, because it's something that I think a lot of traders don't even look at. They're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be learning from this thing over here, and they just kind of ignore it. But it can give some good actionable information. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Mike, I feel you, brother. I don't have kids myself, but all my friends, I'm like, come on, hang out with me. They're like, I have a human to take care of now. Understandable, but but good to see you in here, man. Anyways, so for SPY, what are we kind of entertaining as a possibility? One thing is that we do have these two equal lows here, and that would be a really intense sell. I'm too bullish, guys. I just can't assume that we're going to get all the way down here. Even if I was a market maker, I'd love to bring it down here. I just think that's too far, considering where we are in the economic cycle right now. We are seeing interesting trends in the indices that Talk mentioned. I'm going to talk about that for sure. But really quick, for the downside target, I really want to see what we do when we interact with this gap. I think it's likely we overshoot it. Maybe not intraday. Maybe it provides a bottom intraday. But there are a few other areas I'm watching. This previous swing high. And it kind of creates a zone with these wicks here, here, and here, where it was resistance. We sold off it hard. When we broke through it, we squeezed through it. When we back test and lose it, it's very violent price action under here because it's in a negative gamma. And this is kind of the level where we've had to flip to really get into this bullish drift up, this positive gamma drift up. So this is an area I'd love to see back test and hold. You can see we also have this downtrend line here that we broke. And this bottom part of it kind of forms like a megaphone here. So the idea is that this is an expanding volatility pattern. This doesn't mean that we aren't going up. Megaphone patterns like this, they tend to be very explosive and have a very, they have an edge in terms of the average gain for the breakout compared to a pennant. So a pennant is going to be, just in case you guys aren't familiar, that's going to be a consolidation pattern where volatility tightens. This isn't a perfect example, but see how volatility in this range here is tightening. And then when we break the pennant, we explode. So these play out more often, while these have a lower hit rate, but tend to, like I said, be more explosive. So we could come back down here, and then we have a few areas of interest. We have this hollow place on the tape, this heavy place on the tape. We have the downtrend line. We have the megaphone kind of pattern. This is the area where I'd like to see a catch. Doesn't mean we're going to, but I'm just going to be watching price action here and biased short until we get here, unless we can reclaim some key levels. I also want to look at my other chart on my other screen here with all of my messy indicators, just because I want to get a few more levels for you, because I believe that there is a couple moving averages around here too. Just want to confirm that. But essentially, we're looking for a pullback into an actionable place here. Basically, we've been up on stilts, and just because we've been floating up here, people forget that we're still extended, and we had a crazy, like historically green week for Thanksgiving, and we've just been kind of drifting up here since then. So we could flush pretty good and still just be coming back into really meaningful, actionable support, like a 9-day moving average, a 21-day moving average. So give me one sec while I pop over there and tell you what I see. So we are playing footsies with them today, actually. The bottom of SPY essentially for the day, 679.55. So just about the bottom tick. That was our 21-day moving average. We did hold it for buyers. So essentially, I need to see a reclaim of the 9-day, which is at roughly 683.40. I'll draw those levels out. So there is our 9 moving average. We love that one. And here is our 21. No way I could have moving averages on here. I just use this to execute trades. So, okay, next week, guys, I will have so much more fun stuff to show you inside Trader Evolution platform. That just blew my mind. I've literally been trading only with execution. I do my charting elsewhere. I've been trading with them for almost a year and didn't know this. So that's a little embarrassing, but I have a lot more to show you then. So let's pop on just the SMAs real quick because those are important. I'm laughing at myself there. And how do I change the colors? Sorry, guys. I want to show you this stuff. Background color. If we change this to a little brighter, I hope you'll be able to see. God, that's ugly. Okay, we got to go back, guys. That's not going to work. Sorry, long week. That's better. At least not unbearable to look at. So the gist is that we've got some levels here that we need to interact with. We need to show that we can reclaim them with strength. And then I'll just be targeting the top of this range. And I'll just box trade this until we do get a real sign of a breakout. But I'm just not sure the first test was enough on this rising 21 moving average. Yeah, Mike, long week. Yeah, we made it. We survived. Okay. All right. Ooh, Talk's given some good ideas. Beta risk episode. Yeah, we're gonna get into it. Awesome. Okay, cool. So, anyways, we're gonna speed it up here, guys, as my brain picks up. I wish I didn't have to do this. I love doing it now, but at the same time, just trade it all day long. So I'm a little bit fried. So this is the area that we want to see catch. We can consider it kind of a ribbon. Right now, it is getting pressed. It's getting violated. It hasn't gotten broken yet, but it is really testing it. And if you just look at this kind of consolidation, this move we have here, it's just sloppy and messy. It's really like, I look at this and I'm not really sure what I'm looking at other than it's just kind of drifting up until maybe it's not. I don't know. So I think it wants to reach down and really prove itself. I'd love to see a wick down here and then a reclaim of the 21 to get involved back with swings. And of course, I'd be day trading it down here and up here. So that's kind of the move that I'm looking for next week. I want to see what we do here. I don't want to forecast too much beyond that. There's the potentiality that this was the low. That is definitely a real possibility. What I'd like to see is price action in this area. So not all the way down here, but price action in this area act supportive. So like a beach ball underwater if price comes under here tomorrow or Monday. We get a few days off. Thank the Lord. So that's kind of where I'm at with indices. I just want to, I guess, preach a little bit of caution here because it just isn't acting right. This is really spooky. So it's either shaken the tree super hard and I have fallen prey to a dirty looking candle into a clean level that did hold the clean level. So it makes me want to believe this level less, but that might just be my psychology. So, okay, that's what's up with the indices. Really quickly, we're going to talk about some discrepancies or divergences, I should say, in the indices. We have Qs here, and I'm going to pull up IWM over here. Also, wow, look at silver. So IWM is showing, whoa, no, I would not like to buy one share. Turning off mouse trading. IWM is in an interesting spot. I'm getting PTSD. I don't know how many of you guys were trading a few years ago. Was it just last year? Man, it was just last year, I suppose, when IWM looked like it was going to break out of a big pattern there too and failed horrifically. We're going to look at that. Oh, man. So this one was brutal. This was when I was first starting to trade, like actively, not just invest. I thought that we were in for another massive outperformance move in IWM. Not the case. We had to rebase this whole time. And then in here, it was looking very constructive for a break higher and on out. But again, just overhanging liquidity is so, so, so important, guys. When there's a major level, doesn't matter how long ago it was, but when there's a major level that caused a significant sell-off or reversal in trend, like this was a crazy high and tight flag. And we got this is a crazy strong breakout move for 3-4 days and just puked its guts out. So we got to recognize that there are a lot of people who got stuck. And every time price surges up and they get a place where they're break even from years ago, there's going to be sell pressure there. So this was the real big place where there was massive sell pressure. And as you can see, just perfectly top ticked it, then puked it all the way down here. So I have a little bit of PTSD when I see IWM looking like it wants to break out of a major range. It's literally the same major range. Getting outsmarted by a rectangle here, folks. There we go. So is it going to be real this time? I have trust issues, but we can't deny the strong outperformance. We also can't deny the significant doji week that it printed. Doji week at the top of the range. So best case scenario is that we need to pull back a little bit and we're still very tight up here and can squeeze. I kind of think that we need to make a bigger pullback. I kind of think that this is forming a W pattern here or a consolidation. So essentially we were very bullish. There was an imbalance of buyers compared to sellers this whole way up. Now we're in a mixed tape area in this range where we kind of have to digest and we have to assume that it's going to take a little bit of time. So we bonked our head here. We want to see what we do in this range when we backtest into this. But if it fails, then we could be headed down for a higher low somewhere here. That would look something like a move down there, pretty steep, and probably a pretty sharp V-shape back to the neckline maybe. And then maybe some tightening up before we break out or just die. So either way, I'm a little hesitant when I see stuff like this pushing so much harder than stuff that's quality, like the Qs. Qs are basically mega caps. You know, this is like Apple and Microsoft and NVDA, 4 other companies, and then, you know, other stuff, but that doesn't matter. So when they're selling quality and they're pumping crap, kind of makes me feel like it's a rush for the exit here. And it's like fund managers trying to catch up and into the end of the year. And it just gives me a bad feeling. That being said, I cannot deny that everything is still pointing up in terms of like the gamma profiles for the month. And it still should be a look for a buy opportunity, I think, for like investing for the next like couple months or like position trading. I'm just having trouble finding the exact path here. So that's kind of my thoughts on the indices. A few other things to note, as Talk mentioned, XLF, incredible move. So it's hard to be too bearish overall when financials are so strong. So I just have kind of push and pull. I'm not sure 100% which way the whole market is going to end up, but I'm seeing breadth increasing. So money's going into financials. What else? I think home builders have been pumping. Having a pretty solid week there. And what else? Okay, let me look at my sector list here. Healthcare. Yeah, healthcare. So it's okay if money's coming out of Qs and going into other stuff. That could definitely pull the market up. we would consider that healthy rotation and not overtly bearish. So overall, I just think that we kind of need to shake it up a little bit, dip down, get some more liquidity, and kind of form a better structure. And I kind of want this to happen fast. So that's why I don't really mind this potential dump that's starting to happen here, because I'd love to get it over with. I'd love to get it over with and flush out to the 50-day here at worst. Oh, there's one more confluence. Yeah. So this is the same exact area of interest here. This rising 50-day. It's also the 6-2 fib. I apologize. I thought I had flipped my screen over there. So just the same thing that we were talking about on SPY, this 674 level. We also have a rising 50-day moving average there, and a 6-2 fib of the, I guess, this range. It's going to look different if I draw it on here because it's not going to be a log chart. Okay, so so I think that's all of the indicator nonsense that I need to talk about, just to kind of preface where we're at right now and why I'm looking at the trades I am looking at. So now that we've got the boring stuff out of the way, let's get into some individual names. Yeah, since Thanksgiving, we've literally gone nowhere, like Mike's saying. It's just crushing the premiums. Anybody using swings, expecting that 700, just getting bullied by the market. And oh man, you guys are talking a lot of charts. We're going to hop into some of these. I just want to show you a few first, because one of my longer term plays is starting to look like a short term play. Rivian is so close to breaking out massively here. When this goes, which it probably looks like it's going, we are in for a very bullish year. This is a pattern that just looks like it's going to piss everybody off. And by that, I mean, nobody wanted it in here. It was just torturing you. But if you really think about it, this is super constructive and has done it's checked all of the boxes of what it needs to do before it carves out a bottom of this whole base. Once it does, then you put this in the basket of names that do things like Hood, Robinhood, and Palantir. When you're able to carve out a base that has been built out for multiple years, it's not easy to break out. See how you can drop a lot from $14 all the way back to 10. And that was just the pullback. That was just the real entry for this massive move that started. My goodness, it just keeps going. So that's why we're interested in these charts, because it only takes one of these to make your year. And this year, I am committed to not doing what I did last year, which is sell Hood at like 20, sell Palantir at like 25. Not doing it this year. I think Rivian's going to do the same thing. So, so that's one that I really want to focus on here into the coming week. We saw a big shakeout yesterday on their AI event, where they announced that they were going to be making chips to replace, or to instead of the NVDA chips that they use in their cars. Didn't sound like it was worth a 8% haircut. So in our server, we were buying the dip. We were getting involved right in here. Why right in there? Well, it was the back test of this level, this zone that we already had up. It was the back test of our big downtrend line. And it was a nice place for a higher low in this new range that we expected to be wide and volatile, but eventually resolve upwards. So it looks like we're getting it. Messed with us a few times, but it was fine because structure wasn't good here. A big flush into a key level and a big push back up to this neckline. Now we're cooking. So this one, you're looking to buy into or under 18, I would say, next week. Look for a small back test of this zone would be really nice, the 1775 to 18 level. Maybe it just needs this previous high here at 1817. But somewhere in that kind of 75 cent dollar zone, I think we should be looking to get involved if you're not already. So this is one where it's perfect for my kind of pyramiding swing trading strat. So I started a position right about here, 1550, I want to say. 1530, I think, when it broke this day's high. And then I added in, I don't even know, 1650, I believe, a couple days later, just did open, which worked nicely. And then I trimmed up here and then I bought back here. So I'm just kind of building a position where I can defend it essentially, because these are not fun to hold through if you're not trimming from 1860 down to 1580. You feel like you're wrong, you know? But with something like this, I always size small and kind of build around that core position as we go. So this is where I would start considering sizing it up into like a bigger position, more of a like large part of my port position. So we will see if it keeps acting right. But so far, very, very constructive. Chili salad's great, Tyler. Man, I'm hungry. That sounds so good. Grated cheese, some sour cream. You guys, you got to have the sour cream. I'm telling you, that makes all the difference. A big dollop of sour cream in there, and then just a massive handful of cheese. Enough to worry your doctor. Not medical advice, not financial advice either. But man, I'm hungry. A large baked potato. Yeah, some bacon on top. We're cooking some chives. Talk's invited to the cookout. All right, what was I talking about? I was going to talk about a name. That's the thing. My community is so chill that I end up just like hanging out. All right, Zoom is another one. And I'm starting to build baskets of these names that I think are just too beat down long term, and they're ready to have a really bullish year. So Zoom is ripping. Don't get me wrong. Zoom is up like 40% from lows, even more. Up almost 100% from lows. But we don't care about that because you know what? You know how many stocks that everybody in here wishes they bought way cheaper that like went from like $100 to like $5 back to like a billion or whatever. You know, I'm exaggerating, but so many of these names just get destroyed in the long-term basing process after they go parabolic. So man, everybody wanted Zoom during COVID. Everybody thought it was their chance to get involved in the 300s. They thought they were geniuses. You know, valuation is a very relative thing. So I don't worry that it's up 100%. I'm more excited that it has a whole lot of room to come back up. Doesn't mean it will get up here again. They'd have to pivot majorly. But hey, you know, people were saying the same thing about Cisco in 2003 or whatever, you know? So now this has really good structure, I think. This is another one that reminds me of Rivian, where it's just this curly base. And if you zoom out and look at it, you see the curl, right? You see it's one big scallop, one big cup. So there's two things that it could do. It could need to form, it's called like a scallop bottom, a double bottom. Sorry, my cat's scratching at a window that's open. She's not very smart. Anyways, this could be a scallop bottom where we need to go up here and come all the way back here. And it takes like another year or something, right? But what I'm seeing, and it's a little sloppy, it's not 100%, but it does seem to me that this is a valid cup here. And this is a choppy, sloppy, but valid handle here. If that's the case, then we have kind of checked the boxes that need to be checked to tackle this gap here. So 96 to 100 is the zone that I'm really targeting for a first trim. That is not where I'll be selling everything, but I do expect some pretty big swings on these names as they break out of these bases. So into next year, we're going to be building positions into these. I'm not worried that it's already overextended. I want to consider how it looks here and, you know, into the end of January. And if it continues to shape up right, I'm not worried if I have to buy it up here more, because maybe it pops here and then flags really tightly and gives me an even better entry. So they're just kind of in a watch list, waiting. Every weekend I'm going to keep checking on them and seeing which ones look ready. Those will go into my weekly basket of things to trade. So Rivian, for example, and Zoom is looking pretty close. We can talk about some of the trades that I did enter this week as well. In the Discord server, in our newly opened shares trading alerts channel, used to just do alerts on options and let people know, you know, the shares in the weekly newsletter. Now I'm doing live alerts on those too. So we got into EOSE a couple days ago. Basically, we're building a basket of high flying momentum, specifically in the energy storage space. Is it risky? Yes, but that's why we're picking our spots and we are trading around these core positions. We're diversifying risk a little bit by going into some different names. And this is still a basket that represents a small part of our port that we want to allocate towards aggression, towards momentum. If we do get this breakout to 700 that we expect, what are the names that are going to over or outperform? So that's where names like EOSE comes in. We got involved at 1479. 1479. So the trim was this swing high at 1607. We got that same day. Now we're back to support. So I might add more, but I need to watch. I need to see if it can hold this key 15-ish to 1479 level. So that's one. And you'll see this a lot with my trading. It's just like bouncing around, like I know where there should be buyers and I know where there should be sellers. So I'm always taking some off where there should be sellers. I'm always adding some where there should be buyers, as long as I still, want to be involved with the name, because the more I trade around this core position, the more I can stick with it. So FLNC, this is a scary candle, bizarre candle. And I don't know if it's going to die now, but what I do know is that we got in at 22 or 22.30 average. And we trimmed. I'm saying we. I said I trimmed. That's how I manage the position, how I recommend, but not financial advice, just what I do. So up here, trimmed at 24.83. And so now I'm back to break even on both of these core positions, but I'm up on the, the play overall. I have my cash still sitting here, and I just want to see what we do. If we lose these definitively, I may need to reconsider, but I think these names have a lot of room if momentum wants to keep going. That being said, top wicks into the high of the range, we define our risk, we lock in. So these are names that I'm not sure are going to be on my focus list this week, outside of just monitoring whether they can catch. Because with SPY pulling back like this, I think we might need to cool it on these momentum names, and perhaps I can even look to short some of them just for a few days and then look to see where they catch, if they catch. But we could see some gnarly fails on these names. I just searched QNTM. I'm assuming that's a quantum name. I actually don't know. Is that a ETF? I was thinking quantum. I meant to type IonQ. So this one is trading back into support, but if it can't hold, this thing can move pretty fast, like $5 down. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this basket. And if they do catch, then they can really break out and cook up significantly. So I want to play these intraday, things like IonQ, QBTS. Sorry. QBTS, this one, like, what is it doing? Is this the best buy op ever? This looks terrifying to me. Why couldn't it break out this day or follow through this day? We tighten, get a fake out red candle, and then we bottom wick it and close right at the neckline again. That looks so ready. And then it's like a brick wall again, and we close way down here. I don't know. I want these to keep going just because they're fun to trade long, but they're fun to trade short too. And the easy trade is just right back into this base. And that's like $3 that we could make pretty darn easily if we are getting like basically a W, like boom, boom, boom. And this needs another couple weeks to base out. So that's kind of the game we're playing. I think when we look at most things, it's, can we just keep this crazy momentum going? Or do we need to just have a kind of cool off, a reset, and form double bottoms on stuff? Because there's so many names that just didn't double bottom. And the strongest are way the heck up here in their ranges, stuff like that. This ASTS was a beautiful trade. We were talking about it in here. I actually didn't take it. Feel pretty dumb about that, but a few people did, and cooking. So with these names, maybe they don't get all the way down here again, but maybe you look for some form of higher low on these as well. And I think that this is a pretty common look where, so if we were going to just keep squeezing, which we could, like on a name like this, it could catch here and just keep ripping. But with the market being heavy now, it's a lot harder for these to outperform without that kind of extra weight on it. And it could be the impetus to say, okay, this was the swing high. We cleared this out. We kind of established bullish structure. We formed a higher swing high. It wasn't the major swing high, but we did take out a notable area of consolidation and kind of give an incentive that, hey, or show an incentive to maybe want to go higher. So it would be healthy to come down and take another couple weeks. The thing is, We're just kind of running out of time for this Santa rally. So that's why I want the flush to happen pretty quick and be violent, and we get to monetize some puts and then buy more stuff with them. So that's kind of my thesis here. DXYZ took ASTS Steam. I know Rocket Lab was also playing catch up nicely. That's looking stronger the past day or two. DXYZ, I don't even know what this is. Destiny Tech 100? What? That's a wild chart. Talk, why didn't you tell me about this last week? That's pretty crazy. I'm going to keep an eye on this one. So we got the big old downtrend line break. We got the big old room up 100% back to this kind of neckline area. And that's real strong. Speculation done for a bit. Yeah, I agree, Talk. I agree. So probably going to be stopping out break even on Monday on my EOSE, my FLNC runners, and I had one more. What was it? I don't know. Redis momentum. That one might get me. This one's more of a longer term one, though, that I think I'm just going to kind of. Such a small position right now. I want more of it. So I don't think I'm going to stop myself out. I think I'm going to look for this one to keep being constructive, because on long term horizon here, I really do like Reddit. I think this is still accumulation. I think that this is a little sloppy here, but a cup and handle playing with the neckline here, very similar to what HIMS did before its parabolic run. I'll show you that. So they IPO'd, they ripped a ton, they dumped a ton, very similar to Reddit. Started doing cup and handle there. Crazy volatility on this move up. Where's the one I'm looking for? I think it's at 25. Well, you know what? I can't find it now, guys. I think it might be this one. Anyways, oh yeah, and then the back test on, the 25 level right there. So cup, pop it, come back down here and back test that level. Then we'll look at Reddit. So the cup here, we overrun it. Now we kind of back testing this zone here and testing the neckline breakout. So I still think this one's good as long as it holds this low, which is quite a ways away. I kind of want to build in. So I'm going to be watching this pivot at 213, and we might dip into this gap. And I think 200 is the place where I'd like to add. So that's how I kind of want to manage this one. I still like it, and I want exposure to some growth going into next year. Been selling a lot of stuff in the past couple weeks. So I got some powder to play with. Joe says, OKLO looks primed for a bounce. I just can't tell with this one. I thought it was bouncing. Now I'm like, am I just wrong on all these? I'm in UUUU, and that one hurts. It's options, so it's defined risk. But it was a calculated risk, but I'm not very good at math. Down about 60% on those. So we're trading back into this area of interest for sure. And you could say this is the high or low, but it's ahead of track. ASTS, it's way up like here, for example, in its base. So if SPY rolls now, it can come back down, and it'll be basically where OKLO is now. If SPY rolls down, what's OKLO here going to do? Probably move lower, unless it's already, it's got enough significant buyers here to kind of overpower the negative overall market sentiment. I am just not sure. I'm just not sure on this one. But if you play it, Godspeed. Huge potential if you're right. This was on my focus list last week. I did not take it for this move. I was watching it here. Glad I did not get involved. Just a tough one to play. Oh, man. Yeah, we got to talk about MSOS. I heard at 5 p.m. last night somebody from the White House make an announcement saying, despite speculation, Trump is not about to make an announcement regarding weed. It's like, okay, somebody didn't have their position yet. All right. So besides the blatant fraud, this is a heck of a base. But are we going to pop it? Because if there's anything that seasoned cannabis stock traders know, it's that cannabis stock investors are dumb and they get trapped. And so we trade it very short and we usually sell the catalyst because almost always it sells off. So maybe this is the time that it's different. It is 1, 2, 3 knocking a level. I don't know. It looked so good here, right? Surely we don't come back to this gap. Yeah, 2 months later, boom, down 100%. This thing's a. This is. I don't know, man. What do you call this? 15 pounds of crap in a 10-pound bag. It's a lot of bad companies in here, but they can squeeze. So the target is going to be up here, 650 to call it 7. If you play momentum, just keep a big eye on this 6 level. See if it's acting like it's accumulating under the 6 intraday, and then maybe you can play a reclaim of the 6 through the high day there, and you target a nice squeeze to 650 to 7. So this is on my watch list. I don't know though. Like, people are asking me, should I be investing in weed? It's like, well, first off, don't ask me anything about investing. Second off, probably not, but maybe, but probably not. So that's kind of my thoughts there. Talk is mentioning CEG. Yeah, this is our safe play for nuclear. I don't know what's going on with the daily candles here. They're showing all weird. I'll go to the 4 hours. Yeah, this is super high quality. Oh, given the yeehaw here, is it going to fail? Uranium names are not cooperating, not doing what I thought they would do off this low. I'm in UUU, like I said. It was looking real good here. Say psych right now. Looking real hopeful here. Yeah, that's what you thought. So I am coming to terms with the fact that I'm probably just going to be wrong on this one. But I'm not going to take it off my watch list because if it dies, I want to buy shares for a big discount. I have some shares in the Never Look account from $9.49. Yeah, I bought right at the end of this day because I was like, dang, it's going to eat this flush, isn't it? And the higher time frame structure was very good. So I guess I can take a loss on these options and look to add to the shares. We're going to be looking for this flag to hold, these kind of imbalances to be retested at 1160 if the bottoms fall out. Otherwise, maybe we look for a higher low in here. Let's see. All right, what else is going on here? So we have some crazy moves in retail for sure. That's definitely good to mention. Thanks, Talk. Lulu. So Lulu is back to the neckline. And I have a really funny anecdote for you. Little buddy, if you're in here, I'm going to make fun of you a little bit, but only because I love you, okay? I have a friend. I have a good friend who got trapped in a single Lulu share. He wasn't stressed or anything, but he was laughing about it. I think he was in like here or something. I don't know, somewhere in the. I guess he bought like right here as it puked because he just went break even today and he sold his share. And to me, that's the most bullish. That's like the most bullish thing I can hear. It's also just a really funny personification of what a mitigation block looks like and how people act in it. So anybody who was bullish here and got gapped down on horrendously, they're doom holding. The vast majority of them are probably doom holding because they're shares and they got wrecked 25% overnight. It's like, what are you going to do? I'm going to hold that unless the company's going bankrupt. But when I get made whole, I'm going to get the heck out because I have a really bad taste in my mouth and I don't want to have anything to do with this company. So when there's a large cohort of the market who's saying, just take them, I don't even want them. And that's just when everybody else is getting excited about it. This rotation of weak longs into strong longs is very good for a stock because the new guys, they don't have that trauma. They're not going to sell on the first red candle, you know? So it's just funny to kind of note, where did we squeeze to? Well, right here. Where did we pin to? Right here. So we didn't reject. We're just hanging out at the neckline. So I would love to see this slowly get filled over the next week or two, couple weeks, and then it forms a little inverted head and shoulders here, and then it probably surges through this. I don't know. I don't think yoga pants are dead. I say bring the yoga pants back. That's my platform. Hopefully I have your vote. Let's see. What next? Yeah, rare earth minerals. We played USAR. Last week it was one of the focuses in the newsletter. Said I wanted to get involved with the 17 strike flow that I saw on January calls. And I said I liked them in, what was it? Where was Monday? Probably this day, something like that. So I think this might actually have been Monday. I think this was Friday, and it looked really curly. And then just absolute explosion. I sold early. I sold at $16 when it popped this and showed a red candle because I was getting my clock cleaned in another trade and I needed to lock in some green that day. It was a mistake. It had more room. Now it's megaphoning here. We have to watch which direction kind of breaks out. And these are tricky to play because they're sweeping stops on both sides. I would consider this a backtest breakout as of now, but it's a tough look when it U-turns like this over a key level. So keeping my eye on USAR, it's probably leading right now. CRML is interesting. Critical minerals, I don't know what they're called. I always think of caramel. Anyways, I think we're coiling under the $10 resistance, and we just need to wait for some volume to come in. Right now, the volume is just getting compressed down like that. And we want to see a break. I think these are another thing that you can just start accumulating a basket on a dip. I'm really bullish on rare earth or elements / minerals, but the timeline can be a little tricky. And with anything geopolitically sensitive, you often get really good buy ops if you are not greedy with your sizing and you're looking to buy dips. So it looked like REMX might be ready to break out, but also looking like it's stalling out, has no juice, and has gaps underneath. So a little sus. What I could imagine happening, we could catch here on this fill. We could run stops and catch here. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards if we can't hold this kind of neckline that's getting cooked right now. So we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 day consolidation. We're testing losing that. We could do a low liquidity run down here, and then that's where I would be looking to get interested and expect kind of a cup double bottom type pattern here with a target of this to start and much more for the really long term. You know, if you're position trading or investing. I'm just reading that. REMX is the only China-based ETF, as in they have Chinese exposure. Not sure what you mean by that. Well, MP does, don't they do in-house refining? Obviously, I don't know about the fundamentals of these companies more than just, one or two sentences. So this is another one I was really interested in, and now it's starting to give me that queasy little rolling over feeling. And you start thinking, hey, maybe this wasn't a reset. Maybe this was it for now. You know, maybe it needs to come back and tackle these gaps. And, that's a 50% loss. So I obviously can't hold through that. So this is one I didn't get a position in yet. And I'm just hesitant on these guys now. So I need REMX, the index, to really show that it can find a higher low. That's kind of where I'm at. Other metals, I know REMX is kind of trades more with like momentum than other metals, at least right now. But other metals look a lot better to me. So palladium's a trade we're in. We got in on real nice little snipe at 130. Oh, look at that. Got it to the penny. Yeah, we got in right here, just about the end of the day, just because back testing the trend line, filled the gap, and it was right where our rising 9 and 21 EMAs were located. So far, really easy trade. I'm looking for up here to lock in some profit when we pop up into this gap. So I'm still holding full size. It might flush out on me, but if it comes back here and holds, I'd buy more at 127-ish, 127.50. I like this name a lot more than some of the other ones right now. And look at that weekly chart. That's just so beautiful. Really nice flag break, and we're going for continuation. We closed with a doji, so we might need to rebase. Curl up like that. That would be totally fine with me, though. So we like this, and we like gold. I think gold is higher. We just need to spend this week negotiating the 400. So if you're like a scalper, this is going to be a very interactive level or pivot that you can trade off. Probably this week, if it pops over the 4K, you can sell when their sellers step in at 403.87, the high, the all-time high. I don't think it's going to squeeze. I think it's going to sweep it, maybe squeeze a little, and then come back and kind of need to be a little more constructive. So intraday, you can get some good sells off of these areas in the 400 pivot and kind of look to play that zone. And I'm going to be trying to build a little bit of a long position at the bottom of any range that we form. So basically buying pullbacks, higher lows from the 400 handle that should be a magnet. And the idea here is that right now it's pinned to the 400, but the longer we spend near it and strong with buyers, the more people are going to buy out of the money calls. These 410s, these 420s, these 430s. Ideally, we get a nice little ramp for the next couple weeks, month or two, and these can just, kind of do their thing. Gold's trading basically with SPY lately, but in the past day or two, there was some divergence. So I want to see if that's going to stick or not. Silver, of course, squeezing massively. We are still holding all of our silver. I don't even remember when we got in at first. Sometime in, I think I wrote about it in late September. So up a lot. And we also have these miners. We have XK. What is it? EXK. I always forget. And this one we were in from probably 650. So locked some in when we broke something major. Man, these charts go back so far. And they're not going to show all the history on here. Yeah, these charts, if you have like access to like 30 years of price data, they are very constructive and they have a lot of room to go up. HL is another one we're in, Hecla Mining. This one's been insane. This one's been absolutely insane. So quite a move. And this is like, I wish you guys could see the whole chart. I'll drop a picture after, but you go look on TradingView or something because it's the biggest pennant that's breaking out. So yeah, crazy moves on these. We're just sitting in shares holding because I don't want to sell something that I think is legitimately squeezing. I think silver is legitimately squeezing. So until we like break this crazy uptrend structure, this is a little worrying, but just prices that we haven't seen since 2 days ago. Still incredibly resilient. Mike, HL is Hecla Mining. They are the biggest U.S. silver either producer or miner. I forget. Probably producer. It's been a while since I dug into the fundamentals. Mike, give me a ping on. You're in my Discord server, right? I'd be happy to hook you and anybody else in here up with the paper I wrote on it, the little analysis write up. It's been a couple months now, so I forget all the details, but good stuff. Let's see. So talks mentioning that we could be waiting on some news from China on the rare earths agreement. There's also the potentiality of the White House taking a stake in some of these companies too. So we could look at potentially CRML, UUU, UAMY perhaps. I don't know about that one. Just something I'm considering. Those might at some point just triple if he says the thing. This one's beating me up too. I bought end of day here thinking that we were bottoming. I got greedy. This day I was sure that I was right when we were up here. No, I did not sell. So red on this swing. Probably going to stop out if we lose this, to be honest, because it could get a lot worse. These charts are rough, and that's kind of to be expected when you have a parabolic move. Usually takes something pretty exciting to get me involved within a year or two after a parabolic move like this. But I thought we were seeing IWM do a major breakout. I thought we were seeing all of the momentum baskets kind of roaring back in. We locked in some profit and we're getting stopped out on others. No, don't pray for me. That's a write off already. That's at this point I think it's like $70. It's just a call. So no worries there. If it dies, it dies. Let me pull up my watch list and see what else I got cooking. We can talk ONDS real quick. Drones looked good when I looked a couple days ago, and now I bet, yeah, gnarly candle. Why are these candles populating like this? Did everything just have this? Yeah, that is what happened. So yeah, I look at this as a failed breakout, and now you got to say, hey, maybe I should just short these down. I'll go to my favorite one to short because it always messes with me long. Let's see if Archer is shortable. That looks like it might be a short. Back down to here in the next day or two, next week. Keep an eye on that. Don't short my baby though. ONDS. This is the only one that I think maybe isn't dead in the water. But it failed another. Man, it got so high today. I should have sold. I didn't realize. Bummer. I'm just waiting for this 10. I don't know if they're going to give it to me. This one looks more constructive, but still scaring me. So if it loses the low, I'll have to stop out here too. But that's okay. This is one where it could either squeeze majorly and go to like 15 in a year, half a year, month, honestly. Or it could take its sweet time and it could need to come back down to $6 once more. Make a W type thing. I'm not sure, but I know that long term this is going up and they're very, very well run. And institutional investment has been increasing a ton in this $5 to $6 zone. Institutions were buying this up when it moved like what 1,000%. Institutions still only had a 10% stake. They didn't get involved until here. So that makes me much, much more bullish that this low will hold. And if it gets retested, I want to be involved. I want to get a bunch of shares and some leaps. So if they get me, they get me. If they squeeze it, I'm positioned for that too. I still like it. So Mike talking EQX. I forget what EQX is. Is that another miner? Yeah, Equinox Gold. Insane chart. Look at that. So this is going to be a higher quality one if it's doing this. A lot of them, wow. That is a wild base. Boom. Really cool chart. Yeah, so not all of them are doing this. There are some that are still kind of viable here. I mean, this one's crazy extended because it was the leader out of the base break last year or in January. But on the daily, this is pretty darn constructive. Nice tight flag. You could say this is a bear flag. I don't think it is. I think it's a big pennant. But it could be a bear flag. And GDX as well. Did it fail a breakout today? We're not sure. It looks like it's back testing the breakout so far. So this is another one to watch. Just they're all looking like they want to keep going if things are going to go. we could, like I said, have a decent sell in the indices that can pull these leading sectors down. Let's see, going back up through the comments, making sure I didn't miss anything. Looks like we're mostly caught up. And we are at an hour. So feel free to start getting in any more questions that you might have for me today. I'm going to be wrapping up just a little early. We'll do another 10, 15 minutes for sure. And then if we got more questions, I can get through those. Really quick, I can recap my day. I made like $100 trading all day, so not really worth my time or stress, but you know, grinding the account up at least. So this is a target for this one is 2750. We are at 26,900 now. Approaching that crucial payout level. So that's my goal this next week or two. Just take really straight level to level trades. I want to get this account passed and I want to put some money in my pocket because I've been grinding this for a week or two and it doesn't feel like real money yet because it's not real money yet, but I'm pretty darn close. I can taste it, guys. So we are going to be taking just nice, easy trades. We're not going to be gambling the farm. We're not going to be oversizing. And we're just going to let the compounding nature of easy money trades just do their thing. So when I say easy money trades, I'm talking little intraday swings off of key levels. So on whatever we're trading, we'll be looking at areas of interaction to the left, and we're going to be looking for that area to transact and interact and potentially reverse there. So here's where we really broke out from. We had the initial opening range break. Then we back tested previous day's high very cleanly. And then this was the accumulation for the big breakout here. Now you get the flush out. They flush it right back to there and keep buying it. So stuff like that, where you just you wait for the reaction, this first candle, then you wait for it to come down and show, okay, this is probably real. It's probably a little double bottom on the 1 minute. And then if other indicators are supportive as well, usually I like to have a couple confluential factors. So we have this level to the left, level of interest. We have the initial buying result here. That makes us more interested in taking a shot. And then I believe the GEX profile for this was pointing back up to like the close of yesterday. So we play level to level. We love opens, close, highs, lows of days and weeks. Those are often levels that are bounced between. So if we see support forming off of a key level, we get involved where it looks safe. 1, 2, pushes up, tries to push down and fails. You could wait for this to break. You could wait for this to break. Okay, it broke. It's going to come back down, and whenever it pushes up again, get involved. Something like that. And then you can just take it to the next level of interest. So this was an accumulation. Then this was an accumulation. This was where a lot of shares were traded. You can just take the real quick move, boom, boom, and not worry about it. This wasn't the best example. I think shorts today were a really good example because we had a nice gap up on a lot of charts. And you just come back and fill them on the leading charts. And moves like that, very high probability. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to be looking to do. Not get too fancy. In terms of the swings, like I said, Rivian is my number one watch, but we got some others cooking. I want to see if ONDS can turn the corner. I want to see if... What else was I looking at? There's some steel names and other commodity names that I'd like to see catch. CLF is a fun swingy one. This one sold off pretty darn hard today. But they're backtesting this breakout. Might be considering a short, actually, if they fail this. So a lot of things are trading back into these pivots, and if they fail, we can get a nice clean move down to these relative equal lows, for example. So we can watch this guy. Lots of little trades while we kind of wait and see in the next week. So wait and see if we're flushing. If so, I only want to be trading intraday anyway. Wait to see what's happening. So FSLR, this is one that I picked up a very small starter in, and I'm a little underwater. I'm in at 260, but I think this one has the potential to be really explosive. This is a tight consolidation. We could not get the breakout this week, so it probably needs to get even tighter next week. And what we don't want to see is a flush, a backtest, and a rejection. We can see a flush, maybe down somewhere around here, and then kind of a snap up or a curl out would be okay. We might need to make a right shoulder. We could consider this a left shoulder in the head there. But long term, I am really, really bullish on FSLR. Let's see if we have the history. No, we don't have the price history for the whole thing. But it used to be up here way long time ago. So it's basically created a big cup and a big handle here. And I think this is a consolidation before it actually expands. Even though these are massive expansions in and of themselves, they can still be a base for a much bigger measured move. I think this one, if they execute well, could be a $400 to $500 stock in a couple of years. Bear case is that this is kind of starting to, I don't know, it looks a little roundy, doesn't it? So I'd really like to see it power through here and then flag or something to kind of give it a better look, or come down here and then look more constructive. Just one I'm keeping an eye on because I do like solar into next year. Not like my favorite, but it's an area where I want a little bit of exposure, and this is definitely the only quality name I'm interested in there. Yeah, pay attention to the Bank of Japan decision on December 18th. Putting it on my calendar as we speak. Talk saying the Bank of Japan decision has been a slow-moving ship that takes forever to come, but runs you over when it happens. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, man, I got to put on my macro hat and I got to go read about bonds again. Most boring time of the year. All right, so I guess I got some homework for for this week because I need to figure out how I want to play this specifically outside of just overall. I guess momentum in general will be an easy way to play it. All right, my brain is running out of fuel a little bit here, so I'm gonna go through my watch list here, see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. There are a few more trades. I think Oscar could be a really compelling short. It kind of looks like it's holding up today. I was really shocked to see it so green, but I'm also just saying, or just thinking, didn't they just gut the afford? I thought there was bad news on the ACA renewal stuff yesterday, overnight. Feels like they're pumping on a negative catalyst with a massive gap underneath. So either the bottom is in and they're pumping on bad news, not pumping, but green on a red day on bad news, or this is a really nice entry right back into this neckline and it just rolls back to fill this gap at 1350. That'd be a really nice move if we get it. So I just want to keep an eye on this neckline because, hey, if it can't, then you guys know I love playing this long too. So if it can't reject, then we can say this is a pretty big downtrend line. And even if we just break a little bit, we could get a nice move up to 18 or 19 here. So this is on the focus list too. I just think it's got some motion, you know? God forbid a chart have a little bit of motion. You know, it looks like it's going to move big in one way or another, and I like that. I'm not really too picky about the direction because we can catch it either way. In some robotics names are interesting for a long. If we get a pullback for a position trade, I really like VPG. This one's incredibly strong. Today it was incredibly strong. So this is on the focus list for sure. This is going to be one of those shares swings that I just pick some up, let it do its thing. I think this one is going to be breaking out of this entire history of a range in the next couple years, hopefully next year. But regardless, I think that this will be a long-term base in a company that is pretty high quality from what I can tell. I still need to do some research on it, but this is a really compelling one for me. Other names in the robotic space, less so, but Tesla. This one looks very, very good to me. For the big move, the big breakout, it's formed one whole base in this massive range, its whole past couple years of existence, you know, ever since it just squeezed like insanely. This does not look done to me. Like, look, it went parabolic in the beginning and then it dumped from 67 to 25. That was just getting started, you know? I think that was a very similar move to this dump. Or maybe to this dump where we just go straight parabolic, from pennies to $400 and it pukes its guts out. But if you look back a couple years later, we're accumulating above it. This is going to keep on going and people are going to be livid. I don't like Elon, but I don't want to fade him and his pay package. I think that he's going to find a way to get those milestones and secure the bag. So I don't want to fade it. I want to get long. I want to find a place to get long in this in the next week or two, month or two, and take things from there. What I see is this is a nice consolidation break, nice little pennant action on right there, but also kind of like that. It's breaking. I will say that in general, I don't like a chart like this that is like, it's not a very well developed pennant. When you compare it to FSLR, for example, this is a nicer pennant, even though it might be rejecting. It still is like more well developed. So keeping an eye there too. Oh, I remembered what I wanted to show you guys. Peloton. This one looks good. This one looks good long term. I see a back test of this downtrend line that got broken out of and then kind of fell into this consolidating falling wedge, and it's starting to find support maybe here into this key neckline. So this is another one, not high confidence, but I was only looking because I saw a ton of flow for 15 strike leaps. So somebody's saying this is going to be another one of these stocks that we're talking about, like Rivian or Zoom, where the bottom is in and it's going to go up and test a complete, range reclaim. So this is kind of the whole bottom, the stage one base. So somebody's making a big bet that next year will be the year that we test it. And I kind of like that bet here. I think not a bad place to take some shares or leaps, and you can save some dry powder in case we blast down to $5 again. Kind of what I'm looking at there. So I'm just trying to get these baskets together so I'm ready, so I'm looking every week, and so I'm ready to pull the trigger and know where I want to get involved with them. Because we're going to see this rotation as the next year comes in. People are, they've been tax loss harvesting. That selling pressure is going to stop on these names that have been beating people up. They've just been selling them because they're hurting them and they need to harvest those taxes, right? So there's that cohort. There's also the cohort of like long short, like institutional trading that are like, oh, this thing has no juice. It's got no motion. It's just every time it pops, it's heavy as hell. There's no good narrative here. Whatever it is, a name like PayPal, a name like Baba a couple of years ago, for example. These kinds of names, they can just do no right. It seems like they get a good headline and shorts are in complete control after one little squeeze and just back in the casket. So the biggest thing for me when I'm trying to figure out when these names are going to get off the mat is often it happens as the tax loss harvesting kind of sells, and also the positioning, the yearly leap puts get rolled off. There's a lot of kind of reasons why positioning can change, and you can get a big reversal on some of these names. So this is the time of year where I like to start putting these baskets together and start getting involved in my favorites, start building these positions, and take it from there. Hey, good to see you in here, Kevin. Let's look at ALNT. When Kevin likes a stock, I listen, because Kevin makes a lot of money doing this. So, wow. Heck of a chart. It looks like it's doing the Palantiring thing. So it breaks the stage one base, just screaming up the wall. Creepy crawly, just right up the wall. Man, Where do you get involved? See, I hate these charts. I hate these charts because it's either going to do some crazy squeeze thing, or to me, it looks bad. To me, I see this looks like it wants to M shape way back down to this base here, to this gap or something. So this is a name I will not be getting involved in, but I will be posting the grumpy toddler congratulations, happy for you meme when this inevitably goes up 100%. Michael, you're in the doghouse. Oh no. What did you post? I am scared. What else we got? Oh no, Michael, I hope you haven't been here this whole time and I just haven't been seeing your comments. You like AAUU in the long run? Let's check it out. AAUU. Isn't that from an Avril Lavigne song? Do we not have that ticker on here? I got nothing for you, brother. We don't have that in our system for some reason. I will let the team know. Oh boy, what else we got cooking in chat here? Oh shoot, that's crazy, Mike. You lived in Lahaina? That was a wild story. Sorry to hear. Hope everything is better now. You do seem like a Hawaii kind of dude. Very chill. AAUC. All right, I can look that up. Allied Gold. Okay, this is interesting. I had one too. Hold on, let me go find my. I found one that looked pretty good. AEM I thought looked good, but there was another miner, another silver miner, I believe. AG I think looked good because it's kind of bad overall, but I think it's finally ready to do the thing because it's lagging. So see, the other ones are way out of their base. So silver. So gold miners are already like, if I told you a year or two ago that I was investing in gold miners, you would throw rocks at me. They were considered uninvestable for a long time, and they really needed the rate cuts and obviously the massive surge in gold to become viable. And they picked up steam a lot later than the actual equity did. So I was thinking I was a genius, going, well, we have rate cuts coming in the next year or two. I'll play this gold, the initial gold breakout with. I want exposure to the miners too. I should have just stuck with the GLD because that was where the torque was then, and it took quite a while for that ratio chart, the strength of the miners relative to gold to play catch up. Now we are full steam ahead in that these are the place to be. These are the way to play it for torque at this point. But we have this other interesting dynamic afoot too. We now have silver outperforming gold on the ratio chart for a very sustained period of time, making very constructive breakouts in terms of their ratio. We should take this and combine it with the fact that silver on its own is squeezing out the top of its 15-year pattern. Just like gold did, it had that 15-year cup and handle. That was I was the most obnoxious gold bug ever at the end of 2023. At the end of 2003, I was mostly worried about Pokemon. So, what was I talking about? So silver outperforming gold miners outperforming gold as well. Silver miners, pretty interesting place to get some torque in the sector there, to get some leverage. So what about bad silver miners, poorly run ones? I don't think AG is particularly stellar. These guys are the laggards of the laggards. So if everything in this sector is going up, these still have a lot of room to rip like 30%. I don't know if it's going to play out, but this chart's kind of compelling to me. I think on a weekly it looked nice. Let's look at the daily, just back testing this kind of breakout. And these could fail. It's either a really tight cup and handle type thing that's going to just yeet on up, kind of like this cup just kind of squeezed out of it. So we could see a squeeze out of it if silver can keep squeezing. which I do think it probably does. But if SPY gets hammered and precious metals are trading with SPY, maybe not. Maybe it flags down and we need to wait for the Santa rally. Either way, keeping these all in the bucket, in the watch list. Going through my list here. Man, NBIS got beat. Nebius. I still want to call them Nabisco. I know they don't make cookies and other sweet treats. But you know what? In my heart, they're Nabisco still. Still the big gap. I would love to get involved if it can come back and fill it. This is kind of looking like it wants to. And the template for this is Oracle. Oracle was an absolutely wild chart and super hard for me at least to read because of all these crazy gaps. But yeah, I just kind of default to, like, up here we were talking about it in the server saying, man, it kind of looks like crap, huh? I didn't short it, but clearly it needed to come down here. And now it looks like crap again. And it's got another gap under here. And I think this is where I want to start a position in the Boomer, the long-term account. Oracle had very polarizing earnings, but I don't think they were bad earnings. I'm not like a, fundamentals expert. I'm not a fundamentalist, but seemed kind of just, I mean, their pivot to cloud infrastructure seems like a great success. Massive growth there. I forget the exact number. I guess everything else was underwhelming. I don't know. I think that they're going to be just fine. I think that it's just a matter of mechanical, like, just this structure sucks. The same reason I didn't want to get involved is the same reason it needs to come down. It's just sucks. You know? You know what I'm saying? It just looks bad. Ugly. Don't like it. But if it comes down here, I will like it a lot more, because then it can kind of say, hey, mission accomplished. We did the thing. We're trading back into this previous kind of order block. Go like that or something. Yeah. I like that. So that's what I'm kind of going to be watching for, all of these names that had amazing reasons fundamentally to go up massively, but it's just because they were so bullish fundamentally, they went up so fast. And mechanically, it's too fast. They have to come down. They have to heal that. So this gives us great opportunities if we believe in these names. Volatility is our friend as long as we're not over leveraged and buying the top of ranges. Then we like volatility because it gives us better entries, and especially on stuff that we want to hold long term. Like I want to be a Nabisco investor in 10 years. So so I would love to buy the dip at 67 and then be bragging about my cost basis then. Any others like this? Wolf, kind of interesting. Head bonk. I would like to see an inverted head and shoulders here. Left shoulder head. Tried to carve out a right, but it was too tight. Needs a deeper shoulder here. Carve it out like that. I'd like that. Going to be looking for that. APLD. I forgot what they actually are called. Applied something, something, something. They're another Bitcoin miner turned data center play. I'm not sure exactly how I want to play this one. I need to wait and see where it settles. I'm going to be watching it around here. This one's really fundamentally, I think it's one of the biggest bull cases. What's his face? Repos. If anybody knows Repos on Twitter or from Reddit, he's the guy who he caught a ton of crazy squeezes, and he's quite good at fundamental analysis. In combining that with potential squeeze situations. So he's been in APLD for quite a while. Obviously, he's very happy. He thinks it's going way higher based on the fundamentals. I tend to agree with his bull case, but I'm kind of blanking on the exact details right now at the end of the week. So definitely check out Repos, REPOS on Twitter. I forget the numbers behind it. Repos 39 or something. Anyways, keep an APLD on the long-term basket for these names that just ran too much too fast on really good fundamental news and need to kind of come back to earth. IREN is a good example of coming back to earth here, and it's looking heavy. I did pick up just a few shares to keep a track of the position at 43. Felt pretty smart here, feeling not so great here. I think we need to come back down somewhere deeper. Could be down here to 27, to be honest. Maybe here, though, to 34, 32-ish, the 62 fib. So keeping an eye on this one as well. I do think these names go higher. It's just how does it get there? And maybe they need to go way lower and spend 5 years in purgatory first. I'm not really sure. So got that cooking there. Metals and mining, yeah, on fire for sure. FCX is crazy. The move in copper is phenomenal. That's another thing. It's like, how can I be that bullish? I'm sorry, that bearish. When Dr. Copper is saying, wake up, time to party. So we got to entertain the two possibilities. And I swear I do this every single dang time I look at, I've looked at FCX's monthly chart in the past 4 years. What's it doing? Is this a massive bull flag? Is growth going to explode in the next 5 years? Is the market going to double? Are we going to have a roaring 20s for the next 5 years as well? Or is this a rounded top going to be a fake breakdown and death setup, kind of like semiconductors in 2021 or 2022? Sorry. Not sure. Looks like it broke this nasty rolly kind of look with this mean flush, nice wick up, higher low, and then nice flag here and curling up out of that, breaking the downtrend. I'm inclined to say that this is enough of a reset that I'm just mad bullish copper. If I'm mad bullish copper, how can I expect the market to go down that much when it, tells the story of growth so much? You need copper for any growth company, just about. Definitely for the growth of an economy. I will check. I did do Tesla. I'll go over it again real quick, and then we can do NVIDIA as well. I forget if I talked about that today, but we'll definitely talk about it. Tesla, I really like long-term, mid-term. I think it could do a mean washout to like 420 again. That'd be fun to buy 420.69 again. That's my cost basis. I don't have that much, but I had to buy the 420.69. You got to do it. You got to do it. And then I'll sell the 690.42. That's how you play this stuff. So yeah, in Tesla from the meme level, God, this is how much I hate Elon. When he tweeted, "Oh, the prophecy is completed, 420.69," I was like, that was my whole thesis, and I still hate this, that it's working. It's like, Anyways, sometimes you got to cringe to make money. NVIDIA. I bought some NVIDIA yesterday, and I'm red. And next week, I'm going to decide whether I am going to build this position out and average into it, or whether I need to cut it for a very small loss because it's a new position and a starter. I think I'm wrong. I think I was just wrong because I thought this was going to be the start of a higher low and we would negotiate this 84 to 85 zone and we would make a decision there. We couldn't even get there. We just filled this imbalance and puked. Like, this is as bad as a candle could look for what I'm looking for. But maybe it's a gut check. High quality company into a neckline. What I kind of think, though, is looks like a head and shoulders, and that's worrisome. Then you have Broadcom. You have Broadcom. You can't see it, but it's barely held the 50-day SMA. This is a terrifying 50-day SMA buy. I kind of think it wants to fill the gap down here too. So what's going to happen? How can all of these charts all play out? How can copper go up and Broadcom go down? I don't know. Probably everything goes down first, and the stronger names don't go down as much. Or the names that look like crap now save themselves. Not really sure. So that's kind of my thoughts on those. We can look at this sector overall as well, SMH. And it's just scary. It's just scary. Look at this like curviness, the curviness. So we made the S. Now we're going to make the M. Then we make the H. Got to spell it out. AMCI being the leader in the afters. AMCI, another metal company. I don't know. I don't got that either. Let's see. Hey, glass half full. Do you have a step-by-step prep list before taking trades for the open or a day? I don't have it super like well defined enough to have an actual like SOP step by step. There are a few things that I have to do though. In general, most of my trading days they're becoming more and more homogenized. I am taking less like, ooh, that looks fun setups, and I'm just sticking to the setups that really do work for me. So failed breakdowns work really well for me. Using my oscillators to catch the opening move on the opening volume with momentum. I'm very quick to I'm very quick to take money, to take profit on these opening momentum pushes. And then I generally use that profit as a cushion to catch the bottom and play the trend in the direction that I'm actually expecting for the day. So what my prep list looks like in the morning is I wake up, I pet my cat, I say my gratitudes. You don't care about that stuff though. What you want to know is what am I doing in the market? I'm looking at my hourly chart first off, and then I go down through the time frames, and I do this on the major indices, and I essentially construct my bias for the day. So, for example, if we gap up and I'm seeing my hourly oscillators start to curl down into the open, I'm waiting for, well, first off, I'm going down and looking through all of the oscillators, and I'm basically going to wait for my spot on a 1 or 5 minute oscillator when that is starting to curl over. Often there will be a little pop out of the gate again, a little continuation of the overnight momentum, and then I'll get to wait for that curl over. I'll get a nice short entry. I will trade it down to yesterday's close, and then I'm sitting there waiting. And the second I see substantial buyers there, I might take a small tester long there. And the idea is that if I was correct on where I should be selling, where the buyers are located, then I can use the little wiggle room I have to take a little bit of a little bit of a speculative position, because this is in the prop account. So I'm trading a bunch of leveraged shares on indices. And so I will just grab like 50 shares just to start. Then if I'm just dead wrong and it just keeps dumping out of the bottom, in general, since I'm sizing so much smaller than I do on the momentum play, I take a small loss and just wait for it to settle out. What often happens though is you get the nice little bit of a V shape, a little bit of a liquidity raid off of the key level if your levels are good, and then you get a higher low, which you can build the position into. And then if you don't get the higher low, if you obviously lose your low, well, then you're out. You're stopped out for a small loss. So my day often will look like some kind of like just combination of, oh, is there a clear momentum trade in the morning? I'm taking that. If not, then I'm waiting for the first half hour of the day to settle, and I'm waiting for my short-term oscillators to curl up. I'm waiting for confluence between that and another couple indicators, either my Camarilla pivot level system, my the trigger system that I use. I use a couple different indicators. You can find them all on my Discord server if you're interested. And so it's becoming more and more systemized. Yeah, okay. I'm better at trading than talking. Don't worry. So besides that, there are a few other checklists before I enter a trade. They look like, are you tilted? If you're tilted, don't do anything. Just stop. So I have to like ask myself how I'm feeling. And I don't always respect this rule. Sometimes I say I'm tilted, but I don't care. I like the setup. I'd say most of the time, at least over 50% of the time, it works out. Because if I really like the setup, then but I don't manage the positions as well. I'm more stressed when when I'm under drawdown, but under within my stop parameters. I get greedy and I don't sell obvious places where I should. I end up getting trapped more often. I'm getting better about that, but still does happen every once in a while. And so this is just it, even if I'm breaking the rule, I have the rule and I check in with myself. And so because of that process of continually checking in on myself, I don't have to be perfect. Some days I still say, yeah, I'm a little tilted, but I'm a trade anyway. But it's becoming less and less frequent, and it's because I have more and more data points saying, hey, the more times I do this, the more times I see it doesn't work very well. And so yeah, that is probably the biggest thing that I do for every single trade. I check in with myself, like, are you feeling some type of way? So I don't have any other like super systemic like step by step things, but I have talked about some systems that other people use in some webinars. You can look for like trading system. I know I talked about this in one of the episodes. I did a 6-part series on kind of just like an overview of like the fundamentals of trading. So I know it's in there. Like I want to say episode 3 or 4, but definitely check that out if you're interested in more regimented bullet points type systems. I've been doing it long enough that I find myself finding rules to be more of strong suggestions, because I will find a lot of situations, where the, I'll, there's always an exception to everything. There's a lot of subjectivity to stuff. For example, I used to be very dogmatic about always having hard stops. But as I got better with my managing my emotions, I have found that having soft stops with like hard mental stops, essentially like, okay, I'm not going to put a stop and get wicked under this level. But if a 1-minute candle closes through this level, I need the first 10 seconds of the next 1-minute candle to show an incentive to catch and not follow through. If we get immediate follow through after a 1-minute candle breaks my level, then I got to call it. And definitely if that second follow through candle closes, but then I'm risking, the slippage of just getting knifed on a 1-minute candle. So I don't have all this written down, but I do kind of keep tabs on what helps me overall and what hurts me overall. And this is something I was listening to Michael Noss talk about. Michael Noss CMT, our lovely co-host, every morning. Check him out on stream. He was talking about how this veteran trader has been doing it for like 30, 25 years, something like that. And he still every morning in his notebook, or after the trading day, he'll write in his notebook what worked and what didn't. And every weekend he'll just look at what worked this week and what didn't. And every month or every year, he takes all the new things that worked and put them in a list, and adds all the things that didn't work and puts that on a list. So he's constantly reconsidering what things do I do throughout a day that help me get to my goals and what hinder my process. And I think this is just a really pragmatic way to approach life in general. I think we kind of sleepwalk through a lot of life and we don't realize that we're doing a lot of things that are working against us. So, like anything, trading, it's literally you against yourself. This is all about character development. If you develop your character, you will be a better trader. It's just that simple. Have discipline, be true to your word. Don't panic. Just control your emotions. All that kind of stuff. Great for just day-to-day life, but essential for trading. So keep working on yourself, guys. You're here, so you're doing the work already, but just keep tabs on it. Keep checking in with yourself. What am I doing in my trading day that's helping me progress to my goals? And what do I keep doing that keeps messing me up? For me, I keep trading options a little bit too cowboy like, because like I don't trade a lot of options, but when I do, I like the big wins. I like the big numbers. So what that means is I size for 0. So I'm okay with options just dying on me. More often than not, I need an idea to prove me wrong, because if I'm taking a trade, if I'm right, it's going to be a 200%, 300% move if I stick with it. That being said, there are a lot of situations where I make a good amount of money and I just kind of let it do its thing, just shooting for that home run. And so that's another thing I'm doing this month. I'm trying to be a little less, take the money when they give it to me on the options too, even if it's a small percent of my overall trading. So that's my early New Year's resolution. Oh my goodness. Every time I check back here, there's so many more comments. I love you guys. Let me scroll back up, get through all of these, then we'll wind down here. Oh, that sounds great. I'm gonna try to watch the replay of that. I've been meaning to because I mean, every single time I get to be on stream with one of those guys, it's just like, man, they clearly are have a wealth of knowledge, and I love that their knowledge and my, or I shouldn't say this, my knowledge doesn't overlap super cleanly with theirs. I'm sure they know most of the stuff I know, but they know a lot of stuff I'm just very unfamiliar with, like a lot of the nuances of small cap trading and of really. Oh, you were on the show? Okay, then I definitely got to check it out. That sounds awesome, dude. Yeah, you should be streaming, dude. Very cool. Um, yeah, the whole team. I'm super psyched with what we've got cooking this year at Trade the Pool. Honestly, it's nice. It's nice. Really, really enjoying working with your coworkers and just building cool stuff together. So stay tuned, guys, because there's more on the way. Trust me. All right, let's run back through some of these comments here. You guys are just chatting it up. Happy hour. I like it. Glass half full. It says it would be great if I could prepare a market prep list for download. Yeah, let me think about that. So usually how it goes is somebody gives me a great idea like this. I throw it in a to-do list, and then that to-do list has 300 items on it. So I need to prioritize. This will get thrown in the hat though, and eventually I will get to it. What you can Let me think about it. I'm going to make it a little note in my phone. And this weekend, I'm going to make an effort to dig up the one that I have made. Because I think you're right. It is a good resource to just have available. Also, in my server, still very much under development. But in the next month, we're going to be moving a lot of things around. And one of those things is creating a kind of repository of educational information. And so you guys have one place to go that you have to go to find a lot of really helpful information. And it'll be kind of a compilation of things that multiple really good traders in there are have found a lot of success with. So this is a resource that I think would be good to add in there. And I'm going to make a note. Cool. Awesome. That will probably come after I finish building my dang bot. I'm trying to be a chat GPT coder and build a really cool gamma exposure profile dashboard, but it's taken longer than I thought. So I too am cooking, but you got to let me cook. So what else we got? Guys talking guitar. Yeah, man. Got a Ibanez. What is it? I don't remember. It's like 15 years old now, but it's the super nice slim body. Really, really nice. I used to be a big metalhead, so got my use out of that. My EMG humbuckers, good times. Now I now I mostly noodle on my Epiphone acoustic. But oh, Toxic classical guitarist. I envy you guys. I got small hands. I can't. It's still hard for me to do like bar chords and stuff on a classical guitar. Sometimes I'm like, man, I should have this down by now. I do love classical though. Classical is beautiful. Love jazz. I'm not even gonna try to learn how to do that. It's like, give me one scale. I got pentatonic down. Don't make me switch every chord. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Joe's like a big musician too. Sorry guys, I'm 10 minutes behind the conversation because I was wrapped up in charts. Hell yeah, Michael doing finger picking. I love it. Catch me on a rainy Sunday with some tea, playing some Elliott Smith, some Nick Drake. Love some fingerstyle. Sad boy stuff, you know. All right, guys, I caught up to the comments. Now I'm going to circle back and yep, 10 more. I love you guys. This is so cool. It makes me happy that people are even if you guys are just talking back and forth. All right, what else we got? We can talk music for as long as you guys want. I'm hanging out, but but I think we're probably wrapped up with the trades. If anybody has any other charts they want to look at, throw them on in. Oh, you guys are sweet. Thanks. I'm glad you appreciate it. I'm gonna go listen to some Nick Drake. Some what sounds good? Northern Lights. Yeah, Northern Lights. That sounds fire right now. All right, guys. I think that's as good a note as any to end it on. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope we had a nice happy hour after the power hour. We're gonna do it again next Friday, so don't miss out. Don't forget, I am now doing all the Power Hour streams Monday to Thursday on Trade the Pool. So find me there. You can find me rambling about intraday price action in my Discord server. Find me there. You can find a ton of great traders on Trade the Pool's Discord server. Find them there. And I don't know what else. I don't want to plug. I'm not in PR mode. So I'm just going to say have a great weekend and I'm going to get the heck out of here. Take care now, you guys.